And it is a hugely intimidating job, I think, having to develop the content for your website and your resources. But actually, developing your content is the first job that you should start working on when you are looking at website development, before you even start thinking about your social media profiles. Because actually, what we are really keen to see is what stories you have to tell about your business. You know, what content have you got to share with us? So during the masterclasses, we are going to take you through some of the aspects of content and how you can develop your content, but hopefully share lots of tips and tricks and advice that are going to help make that work so much easier and more practical and pragmatic, so that content's just flowing from the pen, no problem whatsoever. So a very simple and practical approach to developing the content. And what we do know today is that search engines favour websites that have a mix of great content: words, pictures and videos. So we're looking to get that mix in there so that you're providing the customer with a quality experience that they are going to feel more akin to getting in touch with you and doing business with you. And actually where you should be starting is over here at number 1, because once you've created that single article for a particular month, say your campaign, you can publish it on your website, and then it becomes so much easier to chop that up then into smaller sections and amplify the message out through putting teasers on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, etc., that will attract the customers back to the website, where you're going to convert them hopefully into firm leads and sales. One of the most important aspects, and you may already have seen this today, is building trust. And building trust online, both with people who visit your website, but building trust with the search engines through having a great website with good quality content, so that they reward you by putting you on page 1 of Google. And there's a chap called Zig Ziglar in the States who said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think demonstrating that level of care and excellence through the website is something that will work really hard for you. So when we're looking at your task of developing content for your customers, content that they will find appealing and compelling on your website, we need to be working out what is it that your customers are looking for. We need to understand what do they call it when they are looking for it, and more importantly, where do they go? Where are they going to be searching online to find that quality content? 3 key questions that will keep you very busy during the masterclasses that we provide on the Go Digital program. So we have level 1 content, or your sales content, there to convert interest, and that will be products and services, testimonials, biographies. It's the content that outlines biographies, it's the concepts. We then have your level 2 content, or your social content, whose intention it is to create the interest and share advice, updates, useful tips, free downloads, etc., to help with my research, to help my thinking and encourage me to make a decision, and hopefully come back to me and make that important transaction. And it is all about the content. It is the content, the quality content that your customers are looking for up here in the top of this triangle. The search engines, based on searches, want to provide the very best of content to customers, and the customers are accessing that content through the website. And the search engines will reward websites that provide that top quality content that is sought after by your customers, and they reward you by putting you on page 1 of the search engine. At the heart of that sits your top quality content. So at the masterclasses, we encourage you not to think about people who need to fill a website, a piece of technology, with words and content. We need to start encouraging you to think about your website as if you were an online magazine editor. Because the online magazine editors are experts at creating great headlines that can attract your attention in 1.7 seconds, at coming up with different articles that you'll find interesting, perhaps at including some video material, some photographic material, some podcasts, mixing it up, so all of this becomes much, much more interesting to you. If we're looking at creating level 1 content, your customers are the stars of your website. They're the people that you really want to animate by way of engaging with you. But what is the story? And actually, if we look at your level 1 content here, the content that is there to do the sales job for you, then what we are looking to do with that content on your website is recreate the same sense of having a one-on-one meeting with you. Or perhaps they're visiting an exhibition and we need to go out one-to-many. Or we're at a conference, or perhaps recreate that experience of talking to you on the telephone, maybe doing a webinar or something. So what content elements do you need to actually support that sales process and make that really effective? So at the masterclass, we work with you to really encourage you to start developing your content from the perspective of the customer, putting yourself in their shoes, using their words and the way they would describe what the impact of working together with you is and what end result that is bringing to them. Because they're the very words that you need to be including in your content. And we also want to use that reverse logic when we are developing our website. So if we take a typical website page, there is something called the F pattern to the way that people actually view your website page. So the main area of interest, and this is the same principles as if we were looking at the traditional ways of marketing and direct mail, the main area of focus is up there in the top left-hand corner. And that's where we put the company logo. And perhaps the headline, the actual title of what this is about. And then we'll move down to the next area, which is the first paragraph, to actually highlight the end result to the customer. This is what you can have if we are able to work together, or if I can provide you with the products and services that I can offer to highlight that end result. And we might then need additional paragraphs that you could use to share more information and data, and to make it an easier process for the viewer, particularly online. You may actually be wanting to summarize the key points in a bullet point list, or highlighted, or in bold, or underlined, because people don't read copious amounts of copy on the web. They're scanning for the key points that you want to be making. And at the very end, now that I've come to your page, I've read the content on your page, what do you want me to do? And we need that all-important call to action that is very prominent and very easy to access, so that in this 1.7 second world, which is the attention span that you will have, you can get across your key messages and encourage that customer to make contact with you, or to download a brochure, or watch a video, or whatever the call to action is for that particular page. So pursuing this process, we start to encourage you in the masterclasses to think about how you're going to develop the content for each and every page on the website, so that each and every page is working really hard for you. What we know from research is that the more different types of content you use on your web page, the more effective, the more views you will be getting, and the more shareability you will have as well. So if we're using just text, there'll be some effect there, but if we add photo, then we're increasing by 14%. If we mix videos into the mix, it's going up to 20%. If we have photo and video combined, then there'll be 48% more views. And if we're doing photos, video, and other forms of media, then we'll be looking at a massive increase of almost 77%. So what different types of content do you have and can you develop to get more leverage and more impact from each and every individual web page on your website? Thinking about level 1 and level 2, thinking about yourselves as online editors and putting your customers at the very heart of what you're creating. So at the beginning of your web development journey or your redevelopment journey, where we would start with is actually storyboarding out what the actual experience is. And this is where all of your web development agencies would start as well. If we then look at your level 2 content, so level 1 is there for the sales content, your level 2 content is there to charm the people who haven't yet decided to buy. They're looking for advice and information. Working on this principle of what level 2 content can I create on a month-by-month basis, publish on the website and amplify out to a greater audience, building up trust with my audience. What ideas do you have for interesting level 2 content? We've talked about the mountain bike shop and selling Carrera mountain bikes and then doing blog articles about fantastic mountain bike trails. What are your ideas for your great level 2 content? So perhaps you'd like to take this away. What I would encourage you to do is perhaps think of 2 different themes, go back to the questions that we listed, the top 10 things, the 6 questions that are asked, the best books to read, etc. Think about the article that you would write and then take that particular theme and work out how you would change the feel of that theme, the content of that theme based on each of the 7 hooks. From that one simple idea, you can actually, doing this treatment, be creating sufficient content to supply you with content for the next few months at least. It's a very, very easy way for you to get to grips with that level 2 content. And just to remind you, that level 2 content is going to be appealing to 80% of your audience that haven't yet decided to make that all-important purchase. The final thing I'd like to share with you is just about creating that content, that one important article from scratch. And 10% of the content you will be producing in any one month, I would suggest you should be creating yourself from scratch. It's hard work. We started off with that blank sheet of paper, so you don't want to be taking on too much onerous work by way of developing totally unique content. The second aspect of your content creation could be collating a range of different views and opinions from articles that come into your inbox, for example. Writing an article using that, accrediting the source because you don't want to plagiarize, but then putting your own comment against it and saying, check this out, I've found all of these different things and this is what I think about it. And finally, 50% of the content that you need to create is simply you finding great quality content, articles, videos, podcasts, etc., that you are simply sharing as you receive them with your broader audience. If you take that view on your content needs, you are reducing your workload by almost half, if not more. And it should hopefully make that process of developing your level 1 and your level 2 content much, much easier.